Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. This is the 5th entry in the Paranormal Activity series. It's not Paranormal 5, it's the first spin-off movie. Just so you guys know, spoilers. We're doing spoilers in this review because I don't know how we're going to talk about this movie without doing it. Yeah, so Paranormal Activity. This is a series that, look, you love it or you hate it. Vince, go ahead and kick us off.
I think one of the reasons that people are so split on this series is that the movies are really as scary as your imagination makes them. Like, because a lot of it is really subtle, and so I think a lot of people are turned off by the movies because they either lack an imagination or, like, the horror genre has kind of, like, I'm trying to think of the word I want to say.
I want to say desensitized.
Desensitized. It's kind of desensitized the way that they look at horror films.
Also, I think another reason people might hate it is people just don't like handycam stuff.
Yeah,
it
could be.
That's like a genre like, nope, not going to do it.
Well, Ryan, what did you think of the movie?
I really enjoyed it. For me, it brought it back. I was going in, I was, God, this is going to just be like the 4th one. It's going to be terrible again. But it brought it back for me. I'm really excited to see the 6th one.
I still don't think it quite has the charm as the original. But I did like it. I gotta say, I don't think it was as scary as the other ones.
No, I don't think so.
By
It was
far
more
the
of
least scary.
Yeah, it was the least scary, but in and of itself, not a bad movie. I thought it was more of a thriller and reminiscent of other films, but I still enjoyed it. There were still some scary moments, I guess.
It was, yeah, we kind of compared it. It was like the Chronicle of the Paranormal
this
Activity
movie
series. Very funny, and like, oh, we are aware that we're in, that paranormal activity is occurring. Let's have some fun with this.
Right. I mean, this movie, the series started with, you know, some dudes making an indie film, and they're putting strings on doors to have them close with a night vision camera. And now we're, I mean, let's get into spoilers. Now we're doing, you know, we have witch covens, we have demons, time travel.
Yeah,
You know, and
between the space,
it's getting
aliens.
time.
I'm
Yeah.
calling aliens right now.
We have characters that are in different states, different time periods. We have a crazy timeline, and it's just, it's gotten a lot more complicated since the humble origins of the series.
Right, you
But-
would not, from watching that first one, you would never expect the series to have this interesting of a storyline, whether
Right.
it's good or bad, whatever, but it's very interesting, it's very intricate, there's a lot of layers going on.
I mean, you go ahead.
The hints that it could potentially be that though are always there. I mean, I'm gonna say especially in 1 through 3. I mean, like,
yeah.
I mean, in the first one, they're trying to research what's going on with them. I mean, they're trying to figure it out. I mean, this is really the first one I would say that gives you like a real sense of what's going on.
Right.
It shows it on like a global scale in a way. I mean, not because it's in a different country, but it shows that it's happening everywhere. I mean, this kind of stuff.
They're giving us a little bit of a taste of what the whole series is really about.
But I do think that kind of, dilutes the charm of the original, right? Because
Right.
part of the charm was the pure
purity.
simplicity, but also that you didn't know that. Like, I don't think they were planning on a franchise when they first,
Right.
right?
No.
So they have all these things like, what, you walk out of like, what, you kind of have an idea as a demon, but you're like, what was that? And why did that? Oh,
Right.
and that makes it scary, freaks you out more because you really don't, and it's your house. I mean, that's what the charm of that. And
Right.
so I think that's what kind of this one is like. I don't think it's as scary because it loses some of that. It
Right.
starts explaining everything. Obviously, there's parts that are like, whoa, that was freaky. But it starts like, oh, you're filling in the gaps and things start making sense with everything.
Right.
And you're kind of filling in a picture. So to me, that's where it kind of loses a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. It's sort of, I don't know if this is a weird comparison, but like reading the book Hobbit. It's a simple, pure, fun, adventurous little story, and you walk away from it like, yay, I had a good time. And then you explain it to the whole world of Middle-earth, and you're like, okay, there's this whole world of mythos, and the charm isn't quite there.
What it actually reminds me, and I've made this comparison, and I don't think any of you guys have seen the entire Saw franchise, but this is what this kind of reminds me of, because it was another horror series that kind of started from humble origins. It was a simple idea: two dudes are trapped in a room, and someone's messing with them, and that's the movie. And then as they started making sequel after sequel, it's like, this movie ends with someone looking in a box. What's in the box? I don't know. You'll find out 2 movies later. What? He has a brother? There's a, like, I feel like with this movie, this series, they might, I mean, it's cool of an idea when they throw something in there like a time travel cabinet. You're like, what? He's in the first movie, like, that's so, but then when you stop and think about it, you're like, does this really mean anything at all? Or is it just something?
It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, when you're watching it, but afterwards you're like, that didn't mean anything.
Right,
It doesn't mean
tacked
anything
Still
yet.
died.
The thing
Yeah.
is, which is unfortunate because, I mean, like, a movie should be able to tell its own story and resolve it and have things make sense.
Right,
But
like The
it's clear
Matrix
that this
2.
movie was made to push
Right.
more sequels into existence.
And that's
Exactly.
what we have to. We're kind of banking on that. The 6th,
That's-
whatever future ones.
that's exactly-
will make sense of that.
You're
Which is
saying it
why
doesn't-
I'm almost going to say, and I'm going to make another comparison, kind of reminds me of, like, Lost, in a way. Just
So-
the fact that season after season, you're expecting to get, a resolution to it. I'm just hoping that it doesn't end in the way that Lost ends, where I didn't like the resolution.
Right. Also, what's interesting about this conversation is that we've now identified Paranormal Activity with all these different things, which Paranormal Activity was a very unique thing at some point. But now it's all these other things. There's so many room for Paranormal Activities.
But like Lost, like the Saw franchise, like what was the other one? Matrix,
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
It's something that's banking on the next part of the story to redeem it, and a lot of those they didn't. It was disappointing ultimately.
I think ultimately that's kind of where it failed in my eyes, this film. But like I said, I still liked it, and I think the parts that exceeded were it existed on its own merit, and those are where it separated itself from the other parts of the franchise. We finally get outside of a house. It's not a suburban family.
Yeah.
Finally, it seems fresh.
And it's not like, night one. It doesn't say night
Yeah,
one.
we're not going that
like,
same structure repeated. Also, I gotta appreciate that they didn't try to shove some forced, I have a handy cam GoPro on my head, or come up with some stupid conceit about why they're filming. Like, look, they have a camera, they're filming, get over it.
Right.
Okay, we're smart enough as the audience to realize they're making a movie, we're over the whole premise.
And handicap movies are commonplace enough that they don't need to
don't
keep,
need
like,
to
look,
come
we
up
get
with
what this
some
is, let's go.
gimmicky explanation of why I have a grafted camera onto my eyeball.
It's a bunch of kids, they like to film stuff.
Too.
I also appreciate the fact that it's making an entire, saga, in a way, from a found footage genre, which is something that you haven't really seen before.
That shouldn't be possible, but
it doesn't seem like it should be possible.
Doesn't.
But if there's a way for them to get it to work, where it's all these different people who have made their movies, but it they feel like legitimate, found footage films in one universe.
If we take our home movies and your home movies and we watch them,
we'll find that they're all connected.
They'll be applied.
I think
I was there in the delivery room when you were born.
No. Okay. Paranormal Activity. Paranormal Activity, the series, is a very divisive franchise, and this new Paranormal movie falls right in line with that. It's found footage, it's got the bump in the night stuff. If you like that, cool, you'll probably like this one. If you don't, you're not going to like it. But this one does bring some fresh air into the series, a new setting, a new premise, and some new gimmicks. So it's overall, it's just a fun time.